Well, Syria has once again reiterated that it will immediately retaliate against any future Israeli aggression. Foreign Minister Walid al-Muallim says Damascus will respond with a weapon for a weapon.
Syria will not let any Israeli aggression go unanswered without retaliation. The retaliation will be the same size as the aggression, and the same type of weapons will be used.
Muallim also said that any response from Damascus will be given without a warning. Regarding the upcoming conference on the Syrian crisis in Geneva, Muallim said the Syrian government will attend without any conditions.
Be sure that the Syrian envoy to the conference in Geneva will be absolutely honest for the sake of the Syrian people in finding a diplomatic solution to the crisis. I am confident in saying that we will head to the Geneva conference with all good intentions for the sake of a solution. However, like they say, the tango dance needs two people. This depends on the other side and who stands by them. Do they want a political solution or not? We shall head to the Geneva conference without any preconditions.
The Syrian foreign minister stressed that any deal reached at the summit will have to be put to a referendum inside Syria. He also said that President Bashar al-Assad will remain in his post until elections in 2014. The Syrian foreign minister added that insurgents from over 28 countries, including from states in Europe and neighboring Arab countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar, are fighting the Syrian government. The Syrian foreign minister's comments come ahead of an international summit expected to broker an agreement with foreign-backed opposition in Syria. However, the opposition has some troubles among its ranks. In fact, militants on the ground in Syria fighting the government do not look up to or obey the Turkey-based opposition. At a meeting in the Turkish city of Istanbul, the opposition members exchanged blame for their recent losses on the ground. The opposition within the opposition has seen militants fighting each other on the ground in different parts of Syria. Tensions have also flared up between different countries back in the opposition like Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Riyadh wants the coalition to expand in order to weaken more extremist elements within the opposition. However, Qatar is doing the complete opposite. The UN says that over 80,000 people have been killed and 1 million displaced in the mayhem in Syria since it began over 2 years ago. There are also signs that the crisis could hit neighboring countries like Lebanon. As the main victims, Syrians are now eyeing all developments, especially the upcoming Geneva II talks.
Well, to discuss that a bit further, we're now joined with Mr. Nasir Al-Omari, who is a writer and political commentator who's joining us live now via Skype from New York. Sir, thanks a lot for joining us. Now, how do you assess the Syrian situation going forward in light of not only Mr. Muallim's warning to Israel, but also the upcoming Geneva II conference?
Well, the statements by Mr. Walid al-Muallim were actually positive. I think both the Syrian government and the opposition need to take a step back and look and analyze the situation on the ground. This is the right time to do this because this war is not benefiting either side, and in fact it's dragging Syria and the whole region in the wrong direction. So I believe the Syrian government's statements that it's willing to go to Geneva and address the problems and deal with the opposition is constructive, and I think this is one step in the right direction.
But then, Mr. Al-Omari, how does one deal with a fractured opposition?
Well, he makes a very good point. Even if Mr. al-Assad leaves Syria tomorrow, Syria will disintegrate further into chaos. We are talking about a very dangerous situation on the ground. We're talking about foreign elements. We're talking about an opposition that is unable to come together. So how can this opposition rule a country, even if Bashar al-Assad leaves tomorrow? This is a serious question that the opposition needs to ask itself. But on the other hand, I believe the Syrian government should realize that approaching the negotiating table with the intention of ending this conflict in a fair and just way is the only way to go for both the Syrian government as well as the opposition.
Then do you believe that the other players in this crisis, such as the United States, Turkey, etc., is it in their interest as well for this to end in an equal and just way?
I think that there are legitimate opposition figures in Syria, and those are the ones that I think the Syrian government should deal with. Non-Syrians, people who have interest in fighting in Syria and escalating the situation, are a huge problem, and the Western world understands that establishing a radical government in Syria will not stabilize Syria, will not stabilize the region. And therefore, I think the Syrian government should extend a hand to Syrian opposition who want to rebuild Syria and move in the right direction. Other elements, other countries are looking to further their own interests in the region, and I think the opposition understands this as well as the Syrian government.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for now, but of course, as always, we do appreciate your insight. That was Mr. Al-Lamari speaking to us live from New York.